Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome. Hey, girl, how are you? How is it going? Hey, Angela. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Rob. Oh, I love that emoji. That's good. I can never get mine to look like me. Welcome. Hey, Chastity. Yes, I'm calling it in. Good catch. Absolutely. And yes, I'm going with bringing in the sunrise, new dawn. We are transitioning. We are moving from 1 month to the next. So we're moving from anything that has been heavy or dark, challenging, otherwise, bringing in the midnight indigo and the sunrise, new dawn to bring in some fresh energy. Hey, everybody. Hey, Kendra. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Deidre. Oh, guess what? I did it. I told you. Isn't it gorgeous, you guys? This is an amazing ammonite ring from Deidre, and I'm loving it. Hey, Colleen. Hey, Mel. It is Sun's Day. Absolutely. Hey, Debbie. Welcome, everybody. I realized I came up here and I don't have any water, so hopefully I make it. I totally forgot. Yeah, I mean, I can't get it right with my fingers. It's definitely, it moves around, but I think that's kind of cool as my reading ring when the camera's on my hands and I have this like awesome statement piece. So I love it. Amazing. Oh, there's the next comment. Yeah, I love this ring. Thank you. How is everybody doing? Angela says, get your water. I know, I should like tell a kid. I'm way on the other side of the house. And there's so many other fun things. There's always fun things happening at the Jeffries household. And we had a little incident on Friday with running out of propane. So we didn't know if it was the hot water heater. Then we realized the heat wasn't working, and it was a whole series of events that culminated into, very thankfully, we got propane, the heat went back on, all was well. And then my girls just tried to take a shower and there's no hot water. So the little kids still have to be bathed. So we might hear squealing in the background. All the things. Yes, as you come in, if you would like a personal card pull tonight, please just throw a comment in there whenever. Jen's keeping a list. And so after we finish our collective pulls, we'll move into those personal card pulls. So feel free to get in on that. Yeah, so I was trying to, because I'm in transition, I'm preparing for February and feeling into that energy and have some things coming in. I always like to tune into what deck I would like to use for the month, and I have one in mind. I was thinking about previewing it tonight, but I know we want one more night with Lightseers. So I have the Lightseers Tarot for our week ahead collective card pull. But I might just sneak in with the deck that is coming up to be used for February for my empowerment packs, and that I would plan to use here in our lives. This is a gorgeous deck called Odin's Playbook, and it's a Norse tarot. So it's got like a Nordic theme. It's really amazing. It's by Danielle Norman. And so I have this here. If anyone does want a card pull from this deck tonight, it is Odin's Playbook. So I'm just going to let that kind of hang out because I'm feeling it come in. I keep seeing orbs. I do have it, but I think we want one more night for our collective pull with the Lightseers too. It's been quite the month. Yeah, Angela, I'm feeling the Nordic vibes, and I couldn't find it, and I was looking through all my decks, and I found it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling this one, and I'm really feeling that energy. Oh, Colleen, you have some Celtic decks. I don't know if I do have any Celtic, exclusively Celtic. I definitely have decks that have mixed you know, different like gods and goddesses, and the ancestors one, I definitely have some Celtic cards in there, but I don't know if I have a dedicated deck. Put it on my list. So how's everybody doing? We're checking in. We're winding down January. So as we tune in for the new month, we're going to do our usual spread here. We're going to pull our 5 cards for the week ahead, connecting in with our collective energy, see what's coming up for us, and then feel into how that might present for you. You know, and as a collective group, of course, it's going to vary. But then if you would like a personal card pull again, please do comment at any time and we will get you. So let's start shuffling. Like I said, I did use Midnight Indigo and Sunrise New Dawn. These beautiful color energy sprays are bringing in the energy of Dark Night of the Soul. It's the closest one to black, the darkest color in the color healing system, where we're coming through this period. And I already know what my word and phrase is for February. I'm saving that for my empowerment pack peeps. But, you know, thinking about this idea of sort of being in this either dark place or being planted, being in this germinating period before the sunrise, new dawn. So we're kind of greeting ourselves wherever we are along that spectrum as we move through the seasons. Colleen in her group is providing amazing information about IMBOLC coming up this week, February 1st and 2nd. Beautiful information she has there about how you can greet the season and work with those energies as well. So I'm just kind of bringing it all in as we get ready to tune in to our collective energies. Brittany is going to try to pop back. No problem. And you will definitely have the replay. No problem. Okay, so let me just start shuffling, feeling into our collective energies for this week ahead. Hybrid week as we cross over into February already, and start preparing for a full moon in Leo on February 5th. So this is going to take us right into that time. Feeling into a card for Monday for an overall energy coming in for this week ahead. February finally, already, finally. Yes, see? Light or dark, it's all a matter of perspective. It's just crazy how time is moving, for sure. Oh, hey, Kelly, welcome. Hey, Aletha. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's get our Monday card. Oh, yes, we are. Okay, I see it. Yep, we're moving on. We'll talk about that. And Tuesday, hey, Tanisha, happy Sunday to you. Tuesday is going to bring in a potential block or challenge this week. Ooh, we know that one too. Got it. Wednesday, midweek blessing. Ooh, love it. Thursday, how are we growing? So as we move through the week, checking in with how all of this is unfolding for our growth and expansion, which is what it's all about. That's a word that has been coming in big time for me over this last week. In all of my private readings, some themes have been emerging. So how are we growing? Okay, we got it. The moon energy there. And Friday is going to wrap up the week. So let me get a hold on the dates here. So tomorrow, 30, 31, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Okay. So just about halfway point is when the 1st comes in. I'm just getting my calendar straight. Oh, that one wanted to say, ooh, we got 3. Hold on, let me see. All right, I saw who they were. We're going to get back in here and get one card to wrap up the week. Who's it going to be? A familiar face. Okay. All right. So, starting off the week, we have the Eight of Cups. And so this is a card about moving on, moving forward away from things that may no longer be serving or that have run their course or that we're just finished with. And you can kind of see that here in these cups that are sinking. And she's moving forward. And I love, look at that illumination. I was just going to point out the sun in the distance. Woo, yeah. See, the future is bright. The future is bright. See the sun on the horizon, showing that we are moving on. We're moving forward. And, you know, allowing the things that have passed, the things that no longer resonate or that we just find we can't take with us. They could be too heavy to bring along. There's not enough room where we're headed, okay? So we're moving forward. And even this one here, the flaming bowl, is like there are some things that we are just burning down, you know, to ash. We are transmuting those things because they're no longer serving us in their current form. So there's definitely, I know the light is really catching on that. And to me, again, there's never any coincidences. It's all spiritual breadcrumbs for me. There's always something to glean from all the things. All the practical everyday things can be these big spiritual messages for us. So here we see this energy of moving on, and I'm going to say onwards and upwards into this brighter new dawn. Okay, so that's kind of the overlighting theme as we move through potential challenges, as we face, you know, how this is forming us, how we're growing, whether we're going kicking and screaming or otherwise, you know, what is it all culminating into? So Eight of Cups starting us off, moving us into another familiar face. And I know we've seen this card for some of our personal card pulls, and it speaks to, this is the Eight of Swords, for a potential block or challenge. One of my favorite versions, I've said it before, we see here that here she is, and we see how she looks. This is what she sees in the mirror, okay? So there's something that's feeling very limited. There's something that's feeling like we don't have many options, or we can't really move in a situation where we're feeling powerless, but in reality, we actually have more power than we realize. There's more to be seen. And so it's so brilliantly depicted here with the mirror image of what we see in the mirror versus reality. And that has been coming up so much on messages that are coming through. Not only what we see in the mirror ourselves, but the way that we interpret other people and what they might be projecting and what we're seeing in their reflection versus reality, you know, and really starting to get some clarity on all of those things. So a potential block or challenge could be something coming up for you this week where you feel like your options are few, or you're literally, your hands are tied, right? And also, again, crows. As the swords, it's like the peanut gallery, the calling, the voices, all the opinions. They can be internal or external. So if there's a lot of chatter, if there's a lot of competing energies that are very distracting, and it's hard to get back to center and have clarity, then there's an opportunity for us to cut out of that binding, that perceived binding. So what, you know, bringing it into a practical way that it might show up for us, anything that has you feeling bound, you know, anything that has you feeling like there's really limited options, that's an opportunity. It's an indicator to say, let me step back and see how this thing may be actually providing for me just what I need, reflecting back to me something that's going to enable me to free myself of something that has been very binding or trapping for me. So that is coming in as a potential block or challenge that moves us into our midweek blessing. And I love this midweek blessing. This is the Page of Cups. And it's such I love this version because it's exactly what I was just saying. He is the dreamer. He is the one who has all of the ideas, kind of like head in the clouds, but also boots on the ground. So it's like having that balance between allowing ourselves to dream and think ahead and move forward, and bringing it down into practical ways, anchoring it in the day-to-day in practical ways. And my favorite is this little pig, that's a piggy up there with wings. And so there's an element to this card of when pigs fly. And what that talks about is unexpected resources, unexpected things coming in a good way, like ways of things coming together that we didn't see coming. Nope. Hey, Gemma, welcome. You did not miss much. We're on Wednesday. We're talking about our midweek blessing as we move on and forward into a new month. And we are looking at the ways that we may be feeling limited or stuck. In comes the blessing of the Page of Cups, letting us know that there are ways and means beyond what meets the eye. Ways and means that are coming in the most unlikely of circumstances, like when pigs fly. So it's a really beautiful energy, and it's also bringing in, you see the two hands coming together and kind of partnership. So there's an energy of things coming together in unlikely ways, but also allowing ourselves to dream and look for all those possibilities while still being able to do the day-to-day practical things. So Kendra, this one is speaking to you. Oh, you just was going, so you got your 2023 reading, right? Yeah, I know you got this card because I remember I just talked about it this week. So that's awesome. I don't remember what month you got it in or in the context, but I love that's speaking to you for sure. So it's a blessing because, again, we're growing through what we're going through. So these challenges, these things that have, these ships that have sailed, this stuff that is sinking, the stuff that we're lighting up and burning down, all serve a purpose to clear a path, to create openings for forward movement, growth, healing, expansion. So, I don't know if I can read this deck without going big. I feel like we're just talking about the week, but it's so deep, but it's so practical too. And that's what I love about this blessing is it's okay to allow ourselves to see these bigger, wider pictures while also being how might this show up this week in my life in the most basic way, And so pages are messengers. Pages come in with things. And again, this one has definitely a property of, it was February? Even better. So here's your midweek blessing. Wednesday is February 1st, I believe, if I'm getting my calendar right. So that's amazing. So Kendra's February energy from her 2023 year ahead reading, she got this card, and here he is showing up. You got a couple manly cards in your deck, I recall. Awesome. I love it. So, let's see what's coming in for how we're growing then, okay? I know. I mean, you said it first, so I'm just saying. The moon energy is coming in for us Thursday on how we're growing. Again, remember, as we moved through this month, the wolves, and how that message came forward about the light and the dark, wolf in every person, and the battle that goes on inside between light and shadow, like we have here, the midnight indigo and the sunrise new dawn. They both have a role, right? And so how are we growing? Are we coming to a place where we can better embrace that we can better understand that this depiction of her literally being submerged in the water in a way that water is emotion. Water symbolizes, and here we see her completely under the water. And as we know, the moon is a watery element of Cancer. There's a lot of feeling and yin energy with the moon. And so this is that card. So it's really embracing that part of us that receives and feels. And so how is that a blessing to feel completely submerged in emotion? Is knowing that as we become more present with what is in any given moment, so a la the phases of the moon, the phases that we move through, the seasons, the days of the week, all of those aspects playing a role that, when we get into a groove with that, right, and we're working with it, that's where we become more clear on how best to navigate it, to just be present with what is. Like, I'm in my feels today, or I'm really feeling this, or it's a lot. And it can also be a lot in a good way, you know, because you could just be feeling very emotional about something. There could be just a lot of feels. Yes, we do have to grow through it to flow with it, right? Because we learn through the process of the things that we experience. I don't know if you guys all, like, I had a video before, it's just off to the side here, my little prop, but this is my sign that inspired me, and it does say backwards to you, grow through what you go through. So that is a mantra that spoke to me, that led to my grow in the flow of, you know, flowing through these things, because the things are happening. You know, the water, the tides are rising, the emotion is here, whatever phase I'm in, it's here. Back to the chariot energy this year of, but I'm in the driver's seat of how I'm going to experience this trip. The trip is happening. How am I going to go? Right? How am I going to take this trip? I'm going to make my movie reference right now, and it's not for everybody, but it gives me Angela Bassett, Waiting to Exhale. Okay? If you know, you know. But it's like, she is walking away and she is moving on, head held high, right? That's how I'm taking the trip. I'm taking the trip from a place where I know that everything that has come up for me, well, first of all, it came up for me. It didn't happen to me, right? These are things that are coming up, reflecting back to me. It might have felt that way. It might have looked that way. Seems unfair, all the things. And there's a place for that for sure. But we know that how we're growing is knowing that there's a higher perspective that we can see, that it's all serving a purpose for us, and ultimately leading to an opportunity for us to grow through those things. So as it culminates, this card actually came up last week. I think it was actually Monday's energy. So now it's moved to Friday, 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups was that nostalgic card. It was the card that had us looking back at how far we've come and how we've moved through. And I think it's coming up because there was something I had wanted to share last week that I didn't get to share. And it's definitely a part of these bigger messages. It was about, and this came up a little bit because it ended up being the segue to talking about the Aquarian energy. You know, it is Aquarius season. We're well into Aquarius season now. We're in the age of Aquarius. And I shared some information this week, I think on Thursday, my Thursday, like, quick clip on the Majestic page I had. I think I put it on my page too. I was put on my YouTube as well. Little clip from last week's live where I kind of touched on the age of Aquarius and this idea of where we came from and where we are now, right? So I got this, something crossed my path that was about understanding the level of growth and expansion that we're moving through as a collective right now. Okay, so this is a bigger one. This is a little bit deeper, but it's definitely coming in because this card is repeating itself from last week. And the message is about us taking a moment to reflect back on us 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So looking back over these blocks of time and thinking about, you know, the container that you occupied at that time, mind, body, spirit. And imagine, so here we have boy and puppy, come all the way through here now, man and dog, right? Imagine you now trying to go back and fit in that container from 10 years ago even, 20 years ago, if you can remember back that far, if you're in that age group. I think most of us are, but the idea is that you can really feel that, right? You know that that is not possible for you to go back and fit in that container, right? Good, bad, ugly, whatever transpired through that block of time, there's no going back and getting back into that meat suit, right? So that is a real life example of how you have expanded. And I was joking because I was thinking back then my oldest was 7. So then it was like, you know, expanded waistline or otherwise, right? We've moved through all these different shapes and sizes physically, of course, but we're talking about, oh, Colleen's like, tell it to me about 30 years ago. I hear you. So it's this feeling of understanding that was a lot of growth that has taken place in that block of time. What we're looking at now is that amount of growth and expansion in your life happening in a much shorter time period, more like 3 to 7 over the next, like, I keep changing the numbers because I think what I had read had said 3 to 7 years, and I was feeling 2 to 5 years, like, even that, like, all the learning and the growth and the healing and all the things that you've experienced in that block of time is like compressed now. It's sped up to this time period that we're in now. And so this is like a collective thing. And we talked about last week how each one of us, all the small ways that we're creating, that we're making our magic, that we're holding that vibration, are each making a difference to raise the collective vibration. And then that got into the age of Aquarius and what it's all about. And so, you know, I feel like there's this like opportunity for us to be reflecting upon just how far we've come, even if we're not yet where we wish to be. Kelly wants to go back 20 years. Oh, with what you know now? Yes, if you could imagine that. Going back with what you know now and bringing that to that container. Yes. And it's like, I always try to think about that in terms of when you have an opportunity to impart, you know, the wisdom that you have gleaned through that process to someone who's in that time of their life, you know, thinking about what someone could have told me that, you know, would actually be helpful. Because I get it. Everyone's on their own journey and you know, experiencing things. But there's something to be said for that, the wisdom that we carry now and to be celebrated. And how we can also bring that to the table when we are encountering people who are in that puppy dog boy phase of their life, because we know that gap starts to widen as far as like understanding what the heck is going on in the different generations, just because it's just the natural, you know, space that is created between. But I just feel like we have a unique opportunity to take what we know and have seen happen generation over generation to be able to do something differently than has prior, you know, been done previously. That I don't know, it feels good. It feels to me like things are moving in that direction, even if it does feel like we're, again, how are we getting there? Are we submerged underwater in all the feels of it all? It's unclear, it's illusory, all the things. That's the moon energy. We're growing through and in the midst of the illusion of the illusory energies too. So there's so much to it. Like I said, half the time I think it could be its own live. But it feels like, you know, this week is really bringing in for us more transformation, more moving into change and embracing the energies of the new. I'm going to spray the sunrise, new dawn to that. If you would like a personal card pull and you haven't said so yet in the comments, please feel free to do so. I think I'm going to pull out Odin's Playbook and just pull our one last message from there to punctuate our collective week ahead. So let's see. These cards are also gorgeous and have Major Merlin vibes. Really beautiful. So let's ask for a little punctuation mark for our collective energy as we prepare to pull some personal cards. And like I said, if anybody wants the Odin cards, I'm happy to pull one for you from there. But I will be using this deck next Sunday, so you'll definitely get a chance to see it. So let's get one last card for our collective messages. Ooh, we got the Four of Swords. So this is the Four of Axes, as it's called here. We're back into that aligned action, rest and receive. Aligned action, rest and receive. So Four of Swords is that time out, taking a rest, you know, setting down some of those swords. So the challenge of this week with that Eight of Swords, all those crows cawing, setting them down and just taking a moment to allow ourselves to just calibrate, like let ourselves just kind of catch up to everything, all this growth and change and expansion and all these things that have been happening, our physical bodies are trying to catch up to. So, you know, if you are feeling like your physical body is trailing, or you're struggling right now with any type of, you know, physical ailments or otherwise, you know, this is an energy for taking a time out and allowing yourself to rest, and knowing that that is part of the work as well, that it's a very necessary part of the work, is taking that time out to really just go within, to shut down some of those noisy crows, to cut some of that out and allow yourself to just receive whatever is coming in for you as you let your body rest. So that is, I'm so excited. I used this deck several months ago and I haven't used it since, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, let's open up for our personal card pulls. Who is up first? Mel is first. Okay. Mel, I'm going to do light seers. Oh, thanks, Angela. Appreciate you. It's funny, these messages just kind of come out, and I enjoy being able to go back over them throughout the week and kind of pull them apart and see what more comes from them. Thank you, girl. Have a good night. So now we're tuning in here for Mel, getting a message for you. These cards keep jumping out by the threes. A message for Mel. That one's... Ooh, okay, we've got the Six of Pentacles. Thank you, Kelly. The Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving, reciprocity, right? And on the heels of that Four of Swords, I often see this as sort of like our energetic bank account, balancing that energetic bank account and taking a look at the deposits and the withdrawals that are coming in there and out. So, you know, again, depending on how you might find yourself receiving that Four of Swords energy that tells you to just set down and rest, maybe like shut down some of the swords energy, which is going to be some of that headsy stuff with the thoughts. And again, I also just kind of this crossover between the crows and the axes can also be external chatter, of course, but, you know, allowing yourself to receive, really connecting in with that energy to balance out those scales of the being and the doing. So, and again, we see all different types of exchanges going on here. Now, yes, there's a financial component that can have to do with like actual exchanges of money and goods and, you know, the Pentacles, tangible energy too. So there could be, and this is like a transaction happening here between two hands. So there is an element there as well. There's also a charitable element to it as well that can come up. But I was really feeling that Four of Swords because of that element of rest. And so checking in with our spiritual bank account and just maybe balancing those scales a bit if it calls for some more rest, if it calls for some recalibration a bit, and then kind of leaning into our support systems to do that. So that give and take. I think somebody's taking a cold bath. I just heard a scream down the hallway. Oh, I feel bad. So I'm seeing here, you know, that energy of that exchange and that opportunity to balance those scales a bit with some resting, you know, and just some disconnecting. So some timing out from maybe the fray of things that can be draining of our energy. So just kind of, I mean, I feel like you're already so on top of that, but there's sneaky ways that our energy gets drained, right? And so just kind of being able to check in with that and make those adjustments. Oh, good. Mama says it's resonant. So hopefully Mel's on here, but she'll get the replay if she's missing it for sure. Oh, there she goes. Lots of giving. Oh, yes. Perfect. And that exactly, like you were drained and now you're feeling that energy of all this, the ick that has to clear, that's coming up to be cleared. So do your thing, bring in all of the tools and the things that you have to restock and refresh the bank account, because then from there you're able to serve again, as you know. So definitely feels like spot on for your energy this week, and I hope you feel better. Okay, so now we're going to pull for Savannah. This little 10 of Pentacles winking at us. Let's see what's going to come up for Savannah this week. Ooh, okay, we've got King of Cups. So the King of Cups, we saw the Page of Cups, right? So the King of Cups is really very much in tune with balance and emotion, and also very intuitive, but not reacting emotionally. So typically when we see one of the court cards, the pages, the queens, the kings, the knights, this is the king. So that can be your energy, someone around you. It can be a personality or the energy of a situation. So King of Cups calls for steady, balanced, like mature emotional responses to things. And one of the things that stands out to me is the starfish, because it has this regenerative property of, when there are things that are broken or in disrepair or, otherwise, like the starfish that can regenerate itself. There's this very healing energy to it. So it carries a very masculine energy. It can be male or female, but it's definitely a masculine energy in terms of like a strong male energy role model, or very balanced in their energy and very in tune with their intuition, for sure. And there's an element too of redirecting our sails. So if there's something particularly emotional or heavy or something that's been moving through that we're sort of healing from, regenerating, like that starfish reference, and also sort of adjusting our sails, because like the change in the wind, something comes up and there's like this steady leadership. Again, I don't know if it's a person or just an aspect of personality or an energy that's called for in a situation that's best, a situation that is best handled from a place of even keeled emotions, like not getting very emotional, not reacting very emotionally, and just staying steady and adjusting our sails in order to balance and flow through it, whatever may come up. So there's just an energy of that coming in for you there, King of Cups. Let's see what's down the bottom. There's a fish. Just like to take in all of the aspects. Definitely has Piscean energy. We have that King of Cups coming in for you. So just embodying that energy is how that feels, and just kind of being in that state of balance and flow is what I have coming up for you, Savannah. Okay. Chastity is next. Okay, let's get a card for Chastity. Ooh, that one flew out, didn't it? Ooh, Chastity, you got Justice. So Major Arcana card, Justice, which is that card of balancing the scales. And justice can come in the form of actual, like, legal transactions, paperwork, different things coming through literally from a legal perspective, generally favorable in the way of like justice being served, or the scales of justice being balanced when it comes in that way. Also, there's karmic balancing. And I just want to point out too, as I often do with this card, we see this reflection, but it's not the same person. So it's giving me a nod to the potential block or challenge this week, as far as something different than what meets the eye, like what we think we're seeing or what we think in a situation, and it actually, there being more to it for us to see. And in that process of seeing more to it, it creates better balance. It brings through some clarity. With that sword, it's like cutting through and bringing in truth. So there's something, now again, like I said, it could be like a legal issue or question or something in the realm of law, or in karmic balancing through relationships and things that could be coming up for you. But again, I felt earlier the message of, seeing other people and thinking that things are a certain way, and then actually behind the scenes, it's different, Oh, Sharon's heading off to dinner. Okay, enjoy. You will catch the replay, Miss Sharon. Thank you. And thanks to Michelle for making dinner so you could join us. So it's like a situation that could be coming up, that there's this reflective property between you and them, or what you're seeing and then what the reality is. And there's a balancing happening there. So, it could show up in a number of different ways, but I do feel that these two are connected. So this was a potential block or challenge this week, not being able to see, not knowing, not having that clarity. Here we see clarity coming in. We see balance coming in. Hey, no judgment. I just want to have hot water in my house. So there was a little mix up with the propane company. So I'm not judging. No, I'm glad that it resonates for you. That's great. Justice. Okay. Girl. All right. Who is next? Nicole. Okay, let's get a card for you, Nicole. Card for Nicole. Week ahead energies. Ooh, flipping them over, but speaking of some of the gentlemen of this deck, we have the Knight of Cups now. So we had the Page of Cups, we had the King of Cups, this is the Knight of Cups. He came up last week, I remember. We are looking here at that energy of romantic, chivalrous, it's a very soft energy, and beautiful connections happening here. Because here we see the roses, the picnic blanket. There's a lovely energy here. And again, this can be a person in your life. It can be an energy of a situation. But there's definitely a loving connection going on. There's definitely an energy here of having some connected energy, together. And there's like an offering here or a proposal of some kind coming into this energy. So feeling into the cards that are coming up this week, I feel like these two are connected because it's like things coming as if out of nowhere, like when pigs fly, right? Those ideas of like, yes, I can be up in the heads in the cloud with the romantic vibes and all the things, but also, moving through it in a very practical, down to earth way. So I'm feeling that energy coming in for you to look at the unforeseen ways that this romantic or loving energy is coming in for you into your life. So that is beautiful and exciting. Love it. Okay, who is next? Yeah, more cups for you. There you go. I like that one. If I had to pick, that would be one of them. All right, Colleen. You're welcome. Okay, card for Colleen. Card for Colleen this week. I must be picking it up upside down. So now we have the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is my student energy. So it's sort of like an energy of learning new things. And she's got all these bright ideas. And you know what's funny? And I want to say, because this inspired me, and I think this is kind of what's coming, some of the energy having to do with the merger that's happening on your page and all the exciting changes that'll be rolling out this week and the coming together of all the bright ideas. something I thought was really fun yesterday when you were pulling the name of the winner of the cookies and goodies, that you brought Amanda on with you. And so I thought, well, that's another really cool way that we can be connecting on here across all of our communities. And as we engage in these lives and these connections, utilizing these tools and, bringing in the skill set of different people and sharing. And that is totally this energy. So I was inspired because I was thinking about something like that, to have somebody maybe join me on a live or in some way sharing. So I just got that, nod to say that's one of the ways that I feel this energy around you. But, you see here, this kind of going out on a limb, like stepping out on like a tightrope. So it's like kind of taking a chance, because the Page of Swords is definitely like an eager beaver to get out there and like get things going and take action. But this one just gives me a very studious energy. So it's like, even if that is like a spell book or a recipe book or trying things new, learning something new, there's this energy around you. And I just love how, I keep moving away for you to see, these are all light bulbs. So it's like the swords are actually like light bulbs, bright ideas, a lot of like action and illuminating things. And, we can't get away from this yellow: sunrise, new dawn. So new sunny energy coming in to illuminate the chances that you are taking and the stepping out that you are doing. So, and then also never underestimate how it inspires other people, So thank you for that. And awesome. Very excited to see how it all unfolds for you. Beautiful. Okay, who is next? Debbie. Okay, a card for Debbie this week. Let's get something for Debbie. Card for Debbie. Okay. Ooh, all right, Debbie. So you have the devil energy coming in here. And so I don't know if you saw in the beginning, what's coming in this week is the stuff that we're walking away from, the stuff that we're leaving behind, the stuff that's no longer serving, the stuff that's run its course. So, devil energy, especially this version, where we see this puppeteer energy of pulling those strings, those old stubborn habits, comfort zone, ways of being, things that pull us back, just when we thought we were out, right? So I feel like, that there's definitely like a concerted intention here to move on from some of that old stuff, that comes up and can be very tempting, because it is very familiar, it's comfortable, it's known, it's muscle memory. This speaks to like the habits. It can speak to our addictions to anything. So just, any of those things, serving an opportunity for us to cut those cords. Same thing here, right? So this was our potential blocker challenge this week. And perceiving, she sees herself as bound. She sees herself as immobile. But that's not the truth. That's a perception, right? And an old one at that. Time to move on. So taking, and I would say too, that four of axes, punctuating that is stepping back to take a look at what we're axing. What are we giving the axe? Which one of those strings are we cutting in order to free ourselves to move forward? And that can be anything, any of those habits or patterns or ways of being, all that stuff, lower vibrational anything, limiting beliefs, etc., that we're ready to cut ties with. So take that time out, that reflection. I think you might already have some things coming to mind, but that Four of Swords speaks of, taking the time out to get clear on that, and then taking that action to move through. So that's what I have coming up there for you this week. All right. Okay, who do we have next? Kendra. Okay. Let's see. See, from here on out, Kendra, we can compare your cards to your 2023 spread. Which, by the way, guys, I did my final 5 this weekend, are all prepped. So if you are waiting on your 2023 year ahead spread, they are coming this week. They will be here before February. It has been a process, but one that I have found to really be all in divine timing. So they're all coming this week. That reading is still available to anyone. It's just a matter of moving through a little bit of a queue right now, which is a wonderful blessing. So gearing up this week for the Empowerment Pack, which is also available, guys. If anybody wanted to jump in, I've been kind of putting it out there because I was trying to get as much of a heads up of who might be joining us this month, because I'll start doing those month ahead readings this week. And it just moves very quickly because then it's the full moon. So back-to-back guidance coming in for anybody who's joining me for that this month. Okay, card for Kendra. Let's see what's coming up for you. Oh, I don't know. That one doesn't feel right. I wasn't ready for that. It was the King of Pentacles. We know the older guy in the library with the wolf and the pentacle. He just keeps popping in here. Usually when this happens, we know what card I'll pull. But that makes it fun. 2 cards just fell out. He's not one of them. Okay. One more time. Card for Kendra. 1 card for Kendra. We need to be really specific here with our intentions for you. What is coming up for Kendra this week? All right. Another one of our familiar faces. 7 of Pentacles. So lots of different seeds in the soil that are all in various stages of growth. So, another really cool reference that came up to this card, because I know this card has come up a couple of times in our group here and otherwise, where I've talked about patience and, taking a step back to appreciate, how far we've come and where we are in the growth process, and understanding that, being present with the season, that there's a time for those seeds we've planted to be under the soil, germinating and moving through. But another reference that came up, which also brings in the Magician energy and the banana bread that we talked about. I like how all these pentacles are in different stages of growth. And an analogy came up for me that was like, on the stove, when we have a whole bunch of different pots on the stove and we're cooking a big meal, and all of those things are in different stages of preparation. So we know when we have to stir this one, let that one simmer, add a little salt to this one, put some other spices in this one. And so everything is in its own time and in its own process of creation. And so, when you kind of look at all the different areas of your life, mashed perfect sense. I saw mashed potatoes. I'm like, well, that's a process too. It makes perfect sense. Yes. Beautiful. I got you now. Look, I just made a whole meal. Now we're having mashed potatoes. Nonetheless, you know what I mean, right? Those mashed potatoes have to cook, and everything kind of culminates into the mashed potatoes at the end, just before the meal goes on the table, right? So all these different things that you have cooking, all these different seeds that you've planted, just recognizing them in each of their unique stages and just being present with how you can tend to each one in a given moment. It's not time to pick that flower yet. It's in a different stage of the process. So I do love some mashed potatoes as well. I know. Garlic mashed potatoes. So all about what's cooking, all about what's happening under the soil, and just being present. That P word comes up for you over and over and over again. I know. But also, I'm just going to say another P word is just being present, right? Being present with whatever is and tending to it as you do, and doing all the things, making all the magic, and just recognizing, just like our children, in different stages and places, they need us differently. They need different things at different times. They need different amounts of all the things. So too do all the things we're creating. We can't be full on with everything all the time, right? So everything in its time, being present with that. And maybe some mashed potatoes this week. There you go. All right. who is next? Brittany. Okay, Brittany's probably catching the replay, which is just fine. I'm going to pull a card here for her. Message for Brittany. Yeah, I think I'm just putting it down upside down. Okay. Here he is again, this guy. 7 of Swords. Don't let anyone steal your joy, right? Not even our sneaky selves. That's generally my association with this particular version of this card, which is going to tie into the 8 of Swords. 7 of Swords and 8 of Swords. So there's this, again, perception of feeling limited and bound and in some way even shortchanged, right? Shortchanged in some way. I just want to do this thing or that, and if I am blocked in some way, if I'm challenged in some way, it's super frustrating. This is something that's very hard for me. That's how I'm feeling it. So that's why I'm saying it to you. It's like, you know, I have a particular plan for my day, and this is something that's like next to impossible when we have small children, as far as being able to just have a thing we want to do and just doing it. There's an English comedian. His name is Michael. I don't know. Nobody's going to know what I'm talking about, but he's hilarious because he's comparing people that have children and people that don't have children, and just the freedom of going, I think we'd like to go get a bite of to eat. Yes. He does an English accent, so I'm tripping up on like whether I should attempt that or not. And the answer is no, don't. They look at each other like, oh dear, I think we should go get something to eat. Yes, let's. And let's walk out the door. And then he goes through this whole process of what it takes to get out the door when you have children. You guys know I'm going to find the clip to this and put it in here for you to see. I'm feeling this like it's so hard because it's like running in place of trying to do things and getting pulled back or feeling shortchanged in our ability to do the things for ourselves. We're being present with that because we know that there's these various stages and places that we are in our life. Oh my, I know you know, Jennifer. It's so true and it's hilarious, and maybe there's some comfort to be found in the fact that we all know. And also from those who have already experienced it maybe so long ago that can say, you know, that you actually missed it at some point and all those things. To the extent that that energy is resonating for you, Brittany, you know, there's an aspect of seeking out the moments that you can sort of rebalance yourself. And I'm talking into the 4 of Swords here of just a little time out. And sometimes that requires like some speaking up and communication. So whether that's like talking to our partner about needing to like find a few minutes to just go off and like just lay in our bed and breathe or cry or do a thing, whatever it is, like communication is key in that, to speak what we need and find a way to work that in where we can, when we can. And that's before all the swords go, yeah, but the problem is, and the reason I can't do that is all the stuff that would tell us otherwise, is cutting through that and stepping in there and saying, don't let anyone steal your joy, not even your sneaky super mom self, is what that says. Okay, so that's what's coming up. I'm definitely going to have to find that clip because it is hilarious and so true. So that is your message coming up this week, Brittany. Okay, make sure I got these in the right direction. Who is next? Tanisha. Okay, a card here for Tanisha this week. Message for Tanisha. Oh, we got another 6 of Pentacles. I was just feeling that too with Brittany. It's like, again, that balancing the scales of our energetic bank accounts, of making those deposits and checking in with the speed that we're withdrawing versus making those deposits. So, you know, like this came up for Mel, and the energy of, giving and giving and giving, and then finding ourselves depleted, which can then turn to a physical deficit of some kind because we're wiped. There is that energy that comes in. Oh, hey, Erin, you're here. No worries. Welcome. If you want a card pull, just say so. We'll get you on the list. So we have this opportunity again with the scales being balanced and taking a look at what's going in and what's coming out. And, sometimes we have to make a plan, like I was just saying with that Seven of Swords, to figure out when we can do that and just how, it's not always so easy. One of the things about scales is sometimes we think like if one side is a lot heavier than the other means that we have to add more to the other side, like more self-care or more time out or whatever it is. We also can look at how we can take some things off of the other side to help balance it out. So if there's anything that we can divvy up or ask help with from others, or exchange energy, like there's an opportunity to look at that too as a way to balance the scales, rather than more of something, less of something else, in order to create some more balance. So 6 of Pentacles coming in there for you too this week. So definitely a lot of calibrating, which makes a lot of sense because we're in that midpoint as we prepare for a fresh month with new energy coming in. So an opportunity for us to kind of balance those checkbooks for sure, as I pull up the 4 of Pentacles as well. So yeah, definitely. Okay, who is next? So Tanisha, resonates in the way that you're constantly go, go, go and giving and loving to others lately, that you're completely exhausted. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm saying. So, yeah, more self-care, more time to yourself, but you can also pull back from that side of the scale that's so heavy to allow it to sort of balance out a little bit, and recognize that that in itself is service to others, because you being completely exhausted and depleted is no way to go about serving, right? Where that leads. So, for sure, just a little nod to you. And again, if that feels very limiting and difficult and all-encompassing, message is for us to look at how we can step back and maybe create a little more space for ourselves to see things from some different perspectives, other ways that we can bring things in to move through. Okay, Deidre is next. All right, card for Deidre. Chastity's out of here. Okay, Chastity, have a great week. Yes, solidarity for sure. It takes a village. When our cup is dry, how can we pour into others? That's right. Have to secure your own oxygen mask first. Hey, Holly, you're here. No worries. If you want a personal card pull, feel free to comment, and we'll have the replay here for the week ahead energies. But, I just want to say that before I pull Deidre's card, that the feeling of exhaustion, the sinus infection, is the gift, is the squeaky wheel, is the red flag that brings it to our attention, the ways that we are over serving or over giving or, depleting ourselves. And so, cause and effect, balancing those scales, Justice card too, feeling the cause and effect of those things is perfect in itself. Unpleasant, frustrating, maddening, especially when we look in the mirror and find out it's me. I'm the problem, it's me. Like, I get it. But the good news is it's me. So I have an opportunity to look at the role that I'm playing, and thank you to the exhaustion. Thank you, sinus infection. Thank you, whatever is coming up to show me. Thank you, slipping in my pile of oracle cards last week to get my attention. And we know that the squeaky wheel gets louder and louder until you're out of propane and you don't have any hot water, right? So that's what I'm saying. Okay, so this one is for Deidre. And you know how I knew? Everything smelled like propane in the house, and nobody noticed but me. I'm like, does anybody else smell that? Oh, yeah. All the things. I was reading tarot from under a heated blanket on Friday. All right. This one's for Deidre. All right. Ooh, yes, Queen. Queen of Pentacles. Love it. So she is sitting on her throne, on her comfy pillow, with all of her beautiful things around her, making her home, making her space, because there's this energy of generosity and abundance in the Queen of Pentacles. And also, like, a lot of intuitive knowing and focus. Like her eyes are closed, which shows me that she's inside, very clear, very self-assured on knowing what it is that she's bringing into her life and decorating and surrounding herself with. So there's that energy. But like, see, she holds on kind of like loosely because she already knows. Like, there's a confidence there and an energy of empowerment. So that is really beautiful to see. And so, it starts with having a sense of security. So that's bringing me into like the root chakra, the base of feeling like safety, security, knowing that you have that strong foundation to build off of what you're creating. And this is the whole, like, it's already here. What is meant for me will not pass me by. So what I'm calling in intuitively, what I am creating for myself, this is like a self-made woman, self-made. It also has like the energy of like, a single parent, or energy of like a mom who is also like self-made is really the word for it. Like, however it comes up for you, it's like the energy of doing all the things, but from a very grounded and generous, heart-centered and intuitive place. So I do feel that energy for you is just kind of like, that's at the center of everything you do. That pentacle, which is what you're creating, what you're calling in. I'm just going to do it like this so you can see what you are creating, because it's amazing and gorgeous. And so it's like she's holding that pentacle very confidently and assuredly, as you should. So hold on to, that's the energy that you want to embody. It doesn't mean you're going to feel like that every day of the week, but that's at your higher self. It brings in that energy for you to know that that's where you're creating from. No matter how it might look or feel on a given day, how it might come across as a challenge or a block, this is the essence. So that is powerful and beautiful. And totally feeling that for you. Queen of Pentacles energy. Beautiful. I don't even actually know how you create all the stuff that you create. I'm just saying, like, my feed is basically like heart, heart, heart. Wow. Like, where is she just cracking it out from her throne? It's amazing. I'm just saying. I feel like I have to change it up. Like, there's only so many emojis. Awesome. Good. Okay, you needed to hear it. Yeah. And that's what you're working on building, and you are. What is meant for me will not pass me by. It's already here. You're holding on to that because that's what you're building from. And so you're never going to be steered wrong when you go back to that center. And that's like getting rooted and grounded in that as being what moves you as you create and as you do all the things. That's like making your magic, but also the practical day-to-day stuff, for sure. I can tell it's your passion because it's beautiful. So well done. Awesome. Okay, Kelly is up next. Okay, card for Kelly. Card here for Kelly. It's coming up here. Ooh, we've got the Lovers coming in. So here we'll see, especially because the Devil came up already, this is the opposite card to the Devil, the counterpart energy. This version definitely speaks to the energies of the balance between masculine and feminine energy. So being called the Lovers, it's definitely can be associated with lovers or partnership in that way. But the wider meaning of the Lovers is about balance, choice, and duality. So seeing the duality in something or situation or self. So the masculine and feminine can be two people, but also can be those aspects in us and bringing them into balance, or having a choice of bringing harmony. That's another key word here, is having balance and harmony in relationships of all kinds. So it's a nod to that energy of, her tattoo is a bow and arrow. And that's on the feminine energy. So of the divine feminine, which is the being, and the receiving, there's an energy that just catches my eye about being very clear and pointed on, you know, where you're directing that energy when it comes to balancing that with the action and the masculine energy. So, you know, whether that's a choice that you've made or that you're making, or that your balance that you're looking to strike in your life, you know, there's an aspect of that coming in here that might require, you know, moving on from something or leaving something behind energetically, actually, because like there's this moving capacity coming, there's something coming in here about that, but like either actual or energetically moving on from something. And I feel pulled too to the moon, because that can be emotional, it can be deep, it can be illusory, like unclear, like trying to get clear on bringing in that balance on the way to go and the light and the shadow. Perfect. So yeah, those are both within you, because by choice, you are not in a relationship with a man. And so that in itself is bringing in an aspect of harmony, balance and harmony in your life. The choice to move into into a different direction that embodies, you know, what resonates for you. And so absolutely, that's what I'm saying. I don't usually get the, like, it depends on the context of the reading, but the Lovers card, this one, you know, has so much going on here in the symbolism, but I do feel often it's more about the aspects of duality and harmony in relationships, including, especially with ourselves. So bringing in that balance for self, for sure, and that is a process of moving through and moving on from things that are no longer serving us, things that we've moved through and brought clarity to, knowing that that's our choice, you know. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, who is next? Gemma. Okay, card for Gemma. Coming up here for Gemma this week. You're welcome, Kelly. Ooh, okay, so you've got the Two of Pentacles. So again, we have this aspect of striking a balance of all the things. This is like the juggling act of balancing all the things, but often it is like things of a very practical day-to-day nature, you know, taking care of business, paying the bills, doing the things, and then the more mindful spiritual things that we're doing in the way of our creations and the things that we're doing outside of the day-to-day responsibilities and you know, all the stuff that we're balancing down on the ground. So it's giving me a pull into this Pigs Have Wings, which was the message with this card about being able to hold both, being able to be both practical, on the ground, doing the things, taking care of business, but also allowing myself to dream, allowing myself to be in the clouds and envision other things that I know are going to come in for me. And here is this message of them coming in unlikely, unforeseen ways, you know, things coming together in ways that we didn't see coming or realize in a good way. So, you know, it's this energy of finding that balance, and that, you know, this was, let me see, how are we growing? Because I want to feel into, you know, as we go through this juggling act, this process of trying to strike that balance, you know, there's going to be times where it gets really heavy. There's going to be times where it might feel like too much, you know, all encompassing. And how am I going to make it work? And how am I going to find time or be able to tend to these other things, or however it might present itself? And that's okay, because that's part of, because in the traditional tarot, this is like a infinity symbol. So it's just this never-ending ebb and flow through the ups and the downs, and the practical, and the, you know, everything that's down below, and then the upper elements of, you know, like I say, more of the spiritual realm, or more in a creative realm or dreamlike place, versus like the day-to-day, the practical, physical, tangible things. And so we're being present with wherever we are in a given moment with that, and moving through that. And then we grow through that process because we start to learn how to do that with more grace and ease. And so, you know, she's definitely got it taken care of here. And I feel that for you too. It's just a matter of moving through the elements of doing all of those things, and just feeling that, being present with wherever that is for you in a given moment. But really looking to strike that balance. So that's what I see coming up for you. And so just moving it into this week, as far as recognizing that as you release and let go of some things maybe that are just too much on your plate, or something that you need to have an opportunity to maybe, again, I feel like a lot of that Six of Pentacles and the other messages coming in for many of us speak to all of us having an opportunity to sort of recalibrate those scales a bit, and by calling on some of the resources and help and others that can help us to redistribute some of those things in order to lighten the load and make it a little easier to get back on track. So that's your energy coming in to bring in that balance for you. So we have for you Two of Pentacles. Okay, who is next? Robert. Okay, card for you, Robert. Let's see what's coming up for you. Message for Rob. All right, you have the card of Judgment coming up. So this is a major arcana card. And yes, Gemma, balance is the key word between work and home. Needs to recalibrate for sure. Rob, you know what I'm going to do? I want to pull a Nordic tarot card for you to go with your Judgment. You don't have to worry. The Judgment card is a good thing. It's about stepping out and being your most authentic self. But I'm going to ask for a card to reinforce this message to see exactly how it's coming up for you. Judgment for Rob. Especially since that one wanted to leap out. Yes, take a break, Gemma. Recalibrate those scales. Step back. Like that Eight of Swords, looking in the mirror feels very limiting. Sometimes we have to step away, take a breather, clear our head in order to get new clarity. So let's get a corresponding card for Rob. They're so silky. I got two. I just want one. One card for Rob to go with the Judgment energy. Ooh, Nine of Rings, Nine of Cups. Love it. This is the card of wishes coming true, of wishes fulfilled. So Judgment is the card that tells us to step out and be our most authentic selves, unapologetically so, allowing ourselves to shine, allowing ourselves to also shed old skins that are no longer serving us. And so it's a call to do that. It's an opportunity for us to step into that version of ourself, which brings us into the whole dance like no one's watching, you know, just living our best life, where that feels like the key to the Nine of Cups is the card of wishes fulfilled. So it's like all of the cups overflowing with all the things, the blessings, the wishes, all coming in. Let me just see this version. I'm just going to bring it up. I didn't see this until now. Maybe you already saw it, but look what she's holding. It's a crow. It is a crow. So, however you receive those crows that resonate for you, I'm often talking about them being all the thoughts, all the stuff, all the cawing and the crowing and the peanut gallery and all this chaotic energy, right? She just has one. Just one, and it's totally like in check on her hand, like just all together. So it's like stripping away those parts of ourself that, again, the Judgment card is asking us to take a look at the way that we have been judged or have felt judged, but also how we have judged ourselves and others, you know, judgment, criticism, you know, all that heavy energy, and they're false. Those are false layers. It's like, this is the Eight of Swords. It's the reflection in the mirror that looks like all that tangled up mess, being bound, being beholden to a particular identity, a particular, you know, reality. Yeah. So the crow's feeling like in your head, the silence was deafening. Okay, so when you went to silence the crows, then it's like, wait, where'd everybody go, right? Because now it's quiet and you're not comfortable in the quiet, which is your Four of Axes, the Four of Swords energy. This is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to sit like that. So it might feel like you have to be on defense or feeling defensive or ready for something to drop in because you're putting a guard down, you know, and that feels uncomfortable. Well, so does stepping out and being like, here I am, this is me in my most authentic version, right? So this is showing an opportunity to keep moving in that direction, understanding that you do need you know, the crows serve a purpose. They're not, it's never meant to say like demonizing the crows, because they serve a purpose. Because those noisy crows are bringing to your attention something that's like, shut the hell, you know, you got to the point where it's like, there's too much chatter, I need it to quiet. So then you follow that guide and then you start to have quiet, and it becomes a way for you. Like if we think about that Seven of Pentacles that you're always getting and talking about those seeds being planted and they're in the dark and they're blooming, look what's happening here. I mean, the trees are in full bloom, rings everywhere, lots of rings, Rob. So this is saying to me, keep going, that you're on the right path, that each layer that you shed, each crow that you dismiss, lock up, is allowing space for you to continue to bring in the most authentic version, which is the key to unlocking all of the wishes, all the cups, all the blessings, all the things. That's a beautiful card. I'm stoked to be using this deck this month. So, oh, awesome. You're going to be doing some rings this week? Perfect. I mean, they're literally rings. Like that just happens to be the way that this deck uses them. So that's awesome. I love it. Can't wait to see either. Yeah. There's also a, this is the deck that I was thinking of the other week that actually has runes on it. I don't know if I'll be able to see it. I just want to see if I can tell which one it is real quick. In my spare time someday, I want to learn how to read runes. I think it's this one, Jera. Harvest, Cycle, Rewards. Yeah, so the rune that's on here is for the harvest, for rewards, for reaping rewards. So that is really beautiful. I love it. So keep going, right? And we have to feel it to heal it. So we're in the uncomfortable space. We're in the quiet. We're in a place that's deafening and that can be scary or unsettling and all the things. And just being present with that and allowing that to continue to bring in for you the guidance to the next step and the next step to fulfilling all of those things. And you're well on your way. So keep going. I love that. Okay. Let's see. What's here? Yeah, definitely summon that energy of the starfish for that regenerative property for sure. All right, Erin is next. You're welcome, sir. We'll be talking more anyway, so we'll build off of that for sure. Erin is next. Card for Erin. I feel that one there. Ooh, okay. We have the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups is our card of feelings of boredom, apathy, disenchantment with things. We see her here with this particular set of cups that she's got in front of her, and she's just like not feeling it, right? Like there's a sense of like not fulfilled by the cups that are in front of me for some reason. So there's just an energy of sort of just being like blah with that. And what happens is in that process, we might miss an opportunity or a blessing or a thing that's right here, right next to us. I don't think you were on. I know you weren't on. So this is our familiar potential block or challenge this week, right? So again, we've seen her before. This perception, this reflection of being bound or stuck or in some way limited, and like, this is it, like this is what I have to work with, or this is what I'm doing, or whatever. And it could be anything. It could really just be like, having to do stuff that you don't really want to do and just being like, ugh, having to work yourself up to do them, or it could really be just like having an overall sense of like discontent with something or a situation or something in our life that is coming in. Let the discontentment be the thing. Like I was saying earlier about these squeaky wheels that come up. If we find ourselves feeling unenthused, having an opportunity to look again at how we might be able to breathe some new life into that and see that there's actually some tools or resources or something just here within our reach that we didn't realize. We might be missing it because we're hyper focused on something that is not fulfilling. So this is definitely hitting the nail on the head with something with work. Yeah, I was feeling like work. I was feeling like it's something having to do with work or like a responsibility, like something that's on your plate that you're just kind of like not jazzed about having to do or being the one to do it or something in that regard. So depending on what that is, sometimes addressing those things or getting irritated enough or getting to a place where maybe you speak up about it or have a conversation and it ends up being the springboard for something that brings in a new opportunity or a new resource for you. So, moving through the unpleasant, unfortunate, non-preferred cups can be the thing that brings in something that actually ends up serving you. So feeling into that. Yeah, so you have inventory this week and the boss is gone next week, so it's going to be a fun couple of weeks. Okay, yeah, so we're kind of going into it already knowing that I already know there's 3 cups. Is it 3 weeks? We've got 3 cups here that we're just kind of like, So that's a tough one because the work is there. It's going to have to get done. The boss is going to be away. Like there may be no getting out of being responsible for the things in those cups. So maybe getting really clear on, and depending on, the specifics of your situation, the space that you have to say, this is what I can do, and I'm going to do what I can, and I'm going to do my best, but hopefully it's not 3 weeks. I'm not saying it is. I was just saying it's funny that there's like, or 3 specific things that we're just kind of like, my boss is going away. We have inventory this week, yada, yada. There's a 3rd thing that I'm not happy about. You know, looking for a way to turn that frown upside down by seeking out the blessings that could be right there and other resources or ways to move through it that maybe could help be a little more efficient or have things go more smoothly for you if possible. Just push through and smile and wave. Listen, hey, if that's what gets you through the day, keep on keeping on, but keep an eye out for those unexpected, unforeseen little blessings when pigs fly, energy dropping in for you that could help maybe things go a little smoother than you expect. And keep smiling. There you go. Let me spray a little sunshine for you in the sunrise, new dawn. Giving you some sun. Okay, Kelly is heading off to bed. All right. Oh, 4 a.m. Yes. Go to bed, girl. Sweet dreams. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate that. Lots of love to you. Okay, Holly is next. Let's get a card for Holly. Week ahead. Let's get a card here for Holly. Keep the black tourmaline and the amethyst. Oh, I've been feeling really drawn to amethyst for February. February's birthstone. Definitely. Yes. There's your tools right there. All right, Gemma's off to bed. Good night. Have a great week. A card for Holly here. Ooh, love her. We've got the High Priestess coming in for you. So this is absolutely like your higher self, intuition, divine feminine energy coming in here. I always say when she's being sassy, she says, what are you asking me for? You already know. So it's about tuning into your wise self for the highest guidance on and clarity on things. So if you find yourself moving through, you know, any questions of like what's next or why or what for, any of those things that we might ponder, there's an opportunity to go within and feel into your higher self to get clarity on something or to see new perspectives, higher perspectives about something. So it's definitely very intuitive, very much in touch with, you know, third eye energy for you. And I think it could just also mean like you might be already feeling very intuitive lately, very much in tune with that part of you. And that is all part of some of the energies that are moving around too. Like this is a time where you might really be feeling yourself in touch with your intuition, you know, and or if the opposite is true and you're feeling kind of foggy or unclear, because we do have the moon energy over here as how we're growing, knowing that as we're moving through the cycles and phases of life, you know, weekly, monthly, all the different cycles. But this is highly intuitive energy, how you're growing into your intuition, how you're connecting in with your intuition and being able to get more clear. It's like an antenna that we are tuning. So, you know, as you move through things that maybe are perplexing or that we're trying to figure stuff out, there's guidance to go within, just to go within. That's what's coming up here from your higher self about really connecting in with that wise part of yourself to get clarity. And that's something that is like a growth that's coming in for you as far as becoming more and more in tune is what I'm feeling there for you. Maybe your higher self is sassy and she's like, what are you asking me for? You already know. You know the answer. All right. Who is next? Sharon and then Jennifer. Okay, for Holly, making sense. You've been listening to your needs more and leaning into your feelings. Perfect. getting really overwhelmed and swallowed up. That is the moon card. I mean, you just perfectly described it. Perfect. So feeling like, and there's another part to this, because this card came up for a lot of people. And my friend gave me a song, an amazing song by Florence and the Machine, Never Let Me Go. And it being a song about literally just letting yourself go down, like just kind of going into the water, and I'm not giving up, I'm just giving in. It's like an energy of surrender. It's an energy of allowing. And there's something about that word allow, because it's still empowering to me, because I'm allowing this. So I'm still in the driver's seat, but I'm also recognizing that I'm surrendering to the energy. Isn't that an amazing song? And like once it came across my path with this card, I can't stop seeing that song with this card. And just the way that you, Holly, just so beautifully described how you've been feeling. You're literally describing this card and that song. So perfect. And again, if it weren't for the feeling of being overwhelmed and swallowed up, that my instincts kick in, that my higher self comes in and says, girl, come on, you know the answer, and gets you into high gear, because that's the thing that jolted you into this shift. So that's beautiful. And that's really what it's all about. That's what being in tune with your wise self is being able to dance with that shadow, that aspect that does feel overwhelmed and does feel exhausted, but it serves a purpose to bring to our attention where we might need to recalibrate, to balance, to, all the things that you can see the common threads that are coming up. So our group comes together, we all bring our energy, we're tuning into the collective, and we get these common threads among us of messages about looking at balancing all the things and recalibrating and all the deposits and the withdrawals and all this energy that's been coming up for all of us. So that's really, really beautiful. Okay. Whew. Still feels a little chaotic though, and it will, right? Because you're moving through all those feels. And, sometimes it can take a while for us to settle into thinking of it like that antenna of just finding that clear station that enables us to weather all those things. And again, not to gloss over or spiritually bypass or anything. So that's where you can feel into what those things are and then you can get more specific on guidance for navigating those things. But you are well on your way of really tuning in there. So beautiful. And it's a beautiful song, I'm telling you. So Florence and the Machine, Never Let Me Go. It's perfect for what you just described. Okay, this one's for Miss Sharon, and then we have Jennifer for tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out. Let's see what we have coming up for Miss Sharon. She's going to catch it on the replay. Card for Sharon. Okay, we've got more balance, more flow coming in here with Temperance. And we know that this card has come up. We've had a lot of collective messages, and I know that you have said that this is what you have been working on doing, is finding that center point in the process of bringing in balance and moderation and healing in for you. So we have Temperance coming in. I'm going to pull a clarifying card from the Nordic Tarot for you too, because I know this one has come up a lot, and we've really talked about the essence of that energy. So I want to get a clarifying card for you too on Temperance for Miss Sharon. Ooh, Web of Word. This is actually the Wheel of Fortune. So this deck has some different terms. It's called the Web of Word, but it is akin to card 10, the Wheel of Fortune. These are both major arcana cards. And it's funny that this comes up, because I'll tell you what I was feeling here. And I know that we were both sharing how much we love and miss many times the sun. It's a Leo thing. So I was actually looking at this while I was shuffling and feeling a little bit of like seasonal, like feels of, you know, as we try to stay in that middle space and healing and balance between the ebb and flow of the light and dark, meaning the moon and that sun energy. Yes, Jen, I know. The Wheel of Fortune is also a card of seasons. It's also a card of being present in different stages and places along the wheel of the year. And so I do feel like, you know, what is going on outside around us, it can be very challenging, especially if it's been very gray, very drab, very cold. If we haven't been able to get a lot of sun, I do feel something for you there too, in just being present with knowing that in different times of the year, in different seasons, and also seasons of life, you know, all the things that would pertain to the different places that we are in a given moment, bringing in what's needed in that moment to help to support us and lift us up and help us to move through if we're feeling on the downside of something being more challenging or draining, if it's something coming up on the physical level as you continue to move through healing. So the thing about the wheel is it is a very fortuitous card. It typically speaks of things being kind of on an upswing or moving into a more positive place. And one of the things I'm just sharing, because I feel this mention of like the sad energy, like seasonal affective, disorder of feeling affected by a lack of sun, for example. And one of my sneaky excuses is that I have trouble adjusting that, like we're actually having crazy weather here, and one day it was like 51 degrees, but I feel unprepared. Like I can't, like my mindset is it's winter and I'm hunkering down and it's gray and it's brown and it's wet and it's drab, and then like there's one beautiful day and I'm struggling to make the most of it because I'm sort of like in this very fixed place. So I don't know if that would help you at all, but like definitely taking advantage of when you can get outside, get sunshine, fresh air, the things that light you up. And it also can be literally bringing more of that sun energy around you in your clothing, in the things that you surround yourself with, in the foods that you're eating, using things like essential oils and different things that can help to lift your mood as well, if that's something that resonates for you. I'm just feeling that, so I'm just feeling called to share that in line with all the messages that we have been getting about temperance being about moderation, finding that middle path, moving through healing, and this bringing in the seasons and being present with moving through each of them and greeting them with all the tools and all the things that we can bring in to help us to navigate it with as much ease as possible. So that's what I have coming up for you, Miss Sharon. Okay, finally, these are really cool cards. You will get to see them this month. I'm going to be using them for all of the month ahead readings and things with the empowerment packs, and I'll be using them on Sunday for the lives too. Okay, finally we get, or not finally, well, yeah, what were we saying about February already? Finally, last but not least, bringing it in for us, bringing it home, we have Jennifer and your card pull for this week ahead. Let's get a card for you. Okay, speaking of the gray, speaking of the cloudiness, we have the Three of Swords. So, Three of Swords, feeling into the things that are pulling at our heartstrings, but there is an element of the weather rolling in, and the weather rolling in can be energetic, right? Not actual weather, but it certainly doesn't help if it's gray or dreary or something that is not, we definitely just had this. I think it was it in, I know you got it, I think in your 2023 spread. I'm going to pull you a clarifying card too, just to feel into it, because I'm trying to decide if I feel pulled into an extension of what we were just saying. Mel knows it's a good day with the service if she makes it to Jen's card pull. That's awesome. All right, let's get a clarifying card for Jen's Three of Swords. I can actually see it on your wheel. I can see it on the latter half of the year. What do we need to know about the Three of Swords coming up here again for Jennifer? Ah, there's two. I didn't even know there was a sneaky one back there. Okay. Funny. Okay, so you have the 10 of Staves, which is the 10 of Wands, which is about shouldering all the things, holding all the wands yourself. There's like a whole village out there, but we just see this one person carrying all the staves, all the wands, right? And kind of being weighted down in that way. As I was looking at Rob's card, I realized that his card, the rings, are not the cups. They are the pentacles. And I was going to post that later and show him, because the 9 of Cups felt like such the right message for him with the rings. You got the 2 of Rings. And so the reason I'm clarifying that the rings are actually pentacles in this suit, not cups. As I was reading it, I realized that they're horns in this deck, the cups. All right, I'm nerding out now, so stop. Nonetheless, it's to say this is the 2 of Pentacles, the same card as Gemma got. So you got a twofer that dropped out here, and you've got the 10 of Wands, right? Speaking volumes. And then you have the 2 of Pentacles about bringing in the balance of all the things and juggling and straddling all the things, right? And so we've already said it. We can't pour from an empty cup. So yeah, we're feeling pulled apart at the seams. And you know, none of this is to say, you know, we know, and you guys have been so open and transparent in sharing your journey, that we can say that, you know, you guys are moving through a thing. You're moving through a storm, a poop storm, if you will, of stuff that you're going through. And so the reason I want to be clear about that, Rob, is I'm not saying, you know, I feel that you both are aware that Jen is picking up the slack and doing the things and holding down the fort and straddling the boat and all the stuff. And as you say, Rob, she's had to do all the things around the house on top of everything else. And yeah, poop storm. And also, in the name of what is this coming up to show me, there is a repeated opportunity to see the ways in which we could be limiting. Now, there's no getting around the physical things that had to be done, right? And the slack of the prioritizing of the things. And yet we've talked before about the standard that we hold ourselves to and the level that we want to produce at and the things that are really important to us to maintain. And the 10 of Wands forces us to look at, do you really need to carry all those wands all the time? Those are the questions. That is what the 8 of Swords comes up to show us, right? So, you know, why are you following me around, 3 of Swords? You know, and we ask for clarity, and then these cards come out, and it creates an opportunity for us to tune into those symbols and signs to say, what is this coming up to show me? And how, in what ways can I redistribute that load and prioritize and as I juggle and balance and straddle and do all the things, you know, how can I alleviate some of this myself? And so that's the type of like reflection that we have an opportunity to move through with this, I know, very visceral version of this card. And I like to always say, sunshine and rainbows over here, that there is a silver lining of this card, right? Because we know that after the storm, ooh, you do? Awesome. Okay, perfect. That's great. You have help coming tomorrow. So the sun is coming out, right? The clouds are starting to clear. He's going to be creating rings this week, and he is on it. We're going to take care of, we're going to talk to his crows, and we're going to get things into alignment. But things have to get heavy. Things things do tend to get heavy. We tend to choose that path, you know, often, where things get heavy in order for us to feel the weight truly, in order to recalibrate those scales and look to see where you can accept some help, where you can call in some reinforcements for the physical things. Awesome. That's great. That's what it's about. Eight of Swords challenge, telling us to take a look at the ways in which we really have other options that maybe we didn't realize, or that we could put out. Page of Cups, bringing in things out of, like, as if out of nowhere, resources and help and things that maybe we didn't think of before or expect. So, you know, that's the silver lining, is that everything has to get a little out of whack in order to bring it back to center. And so, you know, feeling the weight of all of that leads us to finally allow ourselves to bring in some reprieve. So keep on keeping on, right? I know, you know, even if we don't quite see that sunrise, new dawn yet, knowing that it is on the horizon, and that sun is always shining even when we can't see it above those clouds. That's been a consistent message this month too. So as we close out this month with our final live in January, you know, we have this opportunity to allow the heaviness to be the thing that helps us to balance, recalibrate, and come back into center. And when I think about a lot of these recurring cards, just even the Temperance that we just had, they all have been helping to sort of, you know, weave that story in our collective group. So, beautiful. And we'll see, you know, as we move through, you know, this coming month, you know, how this unfolds for us. So I love it too. Thank you, Mel. I feel that. I really do. And like I said, being present with all the feels and not ever being dismissive of the fact that, you know, well, now there's 5 of us here. You know, shit gets heavy, right? And shit happens. And so I guess after 9:45, I'll start cussing. No. You're welcome. Yeah, we know. So all the things, right? So thank you guys. I appreciate you all so much and love doing this. I'm so excited. Next week, I'll have a better grip on February energy. Yeah, I know. Well, you know, I mean, well, whatever words you use, I don't with the kids, but it's like, you know, having children has truly transformed my vocabulary in ways that I didn't see coming. Now some of my kids, you know, have a more colorful vocabulary than I do now, but nonetheless, it's all good. Oh, you're welcome, Erin. Good luck this week. Keep flowing. You got this. Keep looking for that silver lining. I hope everyone has an amazing week and happy February, and we will be meeting, do the same thing, same time, same station next week. So thank you so much for joining me. And again, if anybody wants to hop in on the Empowerment Pack this month, I have the info out there. I'll be doing those month ahead readings, you know, starting next week. All right, guys, thank you so much. Lots of love. Talk to you soon. Bye.